Welcome to Review Nation, and today I'm reviewing British Lion's album The Burning. They just released it. You guys voted for British Lion The Burning to be reviewed, and I was a bit reluctant to review this, and you understand why I was reluctant to review this, because quite frankly I'm very disappointed in this album. Steve Harris may indeed be in this album and may have indeed created this work, this body of work called The Burning, but quite frankly this is a very disappointing album. And in comparison to Iron Maiden, this is dog shit status for Steve Harris in my opinion. We all do respect to Steve Harris. He's an absolute legend in the heavy metal business, and he has made incredible Iron Maiden albums, but for the British Lion The Burning, this was a very disappointing album. And of course, I'm going to give you my thoughts on what I thought about this album. Look, there are a few good songs on this album, don't get me wrong, but Steve Harris, man, you gotta find another fucking vocalist. Another vocalist that can actually express a lot of emotion. Taylor does not do it for me. Taylor is not a very good vocalist in my opinion. I was very disappointed in the vocals. The vocals were, in my opinion, quite trash. I mean, he's got a good falsetto throughout some of the songs like The Legend, and I don't mind The Native Son, that's a pretty good song, but the rest of the songs, man, the rest of the songs, his vocals don't really fit along with the instrumentals. Let's talk about the production. The production wasn't that great in my opinion. Wanted that raw, edgy feel for the production. The drums, on the other hand, there was some nice drumming. I had nice drumming, but the bass drum, the kickers sound over-processed. The drums sounded over-processed. The tone of the guitars were okay. Yeah, so as you know, Steve Harris is the founder of British Lion. It's a side project. You can tell that Steve Harris is really focusing on the British Lion, and he's quite proud of the band. He's playing in clubs, he's very excited. It's something different to Iron Maiden. And of course, this doesn't really sound like Iron Maiden, which is a good thing. If you're coming in thinking this is going to be another Iron Maiden album, you're going to be quite disappointed. Quite disappointed. I knew this wasn't going to sound like Iron Maiden. It's sort of hard rock and on the borderline of heavy metal. But there are also some really nice moments throughout this album. There are some nice guitar solos. I've got to admit, there are some nice guitar solos throughout the album. But the vocals, man, the vocals are the most disappointing thing on the album. And the vocals are so high up in the mix. Really high up in the mix. Can't really hear much of Steve Harris. Steve Harris's bass is very low in the mix, not as prominent as Iron Maiden albums. So when I first heard this, I was very disappointed. Wanted to hear more Steve Harris's bass licks like you get through Iron Maiden. The bass in this is very low in the mix. The only prominent bass you can hear is probably through The Legend. That's a good song because you can really hear Steve Harris's bass. Very prominent. The rest of the album is a very disappointing album. The Native Song is a good song, I suppose, and City of Fallen Angels is quite catchy and melodic, and The Burning, Father Lucifer is an alright song. Taylor's vocals are just so damn fucking disappointing. Steve Harris, you gotta find another vocalist, man. You have to find another vocalist in order for British Lion to progress. Let's go track by track. The City of Fallen Angels is a good rocker. It's a good hard rock song. I love the guitar riffs throughout this song. The overall balance of the instrumentals. Taylor's vocals aren't very good in this. I don't really enjoy his vocals, and there are some really nice, there is a nice guitar solo throughout the song and quite nice drum fills, really nice drum fills, but of course the chorus is quite melodic. I can just imagine Bruce Dickinson maybe singing this, and this song would have been 100 times better. It's just that the vocals on this album are not up to standard in my opinion. Are not up to standard. I'm not bashing Taylor's vocals, but I just feel his vocals aren't catered to Steve Harris's masterpiece work. So then it leads on to The Burning. The Burning's a very interesting song. Taylor's vocals sort of fit within this song. They do. You get another raging guitar solo and quite ominous synths throughout the background, and I can really appreciate that. And then it leads on to Father Lucifer. Again, it's an okay song. It's an okay song. It's quite bloated. It's quite long. The main thing about these songs is this album's about an hour long. An hour long, it should be cut down a little bit because there are some really filler songs that I just do not care about. I don't care about Spitfire, Land of the Perfect People. It just all not very good songs in my opinion. It's just the same repetitive shit. It's the same repetitive riffs. It's very repetitive, this album. And it seems like Steve Harris is playing it safe. You want to see Steve Harris play it not so safe in albums like this, because this isn't Iron Maiden, of course. Steve Harris should experiment, or Steve Harris should experiment within this band. At times, this album does feel uninspiring. So we move on to the next song, which is Elysium. Elysium, not a very good song, very generic hard rock song. You get some really nice solos throughout this album, which is really good. The drums on this are really good as well, but the vocals on the other hand aren't very good. So then we lead to Lightning, which is a good song. It's a pretty good song, and this song caters Taylor's vocals, but on the other hand, you can't really hear much of Steve Harris's bass. Throughout this song, you really want to hear a prominent bass by Steve Harris, but you don't get it. You get a really nice guitar riff throughout the song. But again, yeah, Taylor's vocals at times can be quite jarring. Leads on to Last Chance. Not a very good song in my opinion. Not a very good song. I don't really enjoy this song. It's a very forgettable song. Leads on to Legend. Legend is the best song off the album. It's quite short as well, which I really do enjoy. This is a very good song by British Lion. It caters Taylor's vocals as well. He expresses a lot of emotion throughout this song, and it's quite an emotional song. It's a really nice song. I really do enjoy it. So when I delete this album off my iPhone, I'm going to save The Legend. It leads on to Spitfire, a song I don't really care about. I just feel that this song is quite generic. Then Land of the Perfect People. Again, I don't really care about the song. It's another filler song. It's an overly bloated song. It's a repetitive same shit. And then it goes to Bible Black, which is a good song in my opinion. It's quite a good song, and I do enjoy that. Again, Taylor's vocals are okay in this. And then it goes on to Native Son. Another song that I will save on my iPhone because I really enjoy that song, but the rest can fuck off because I don't really care about the rest of the album. I got The Legend and I got Native Son. Native Son is really good. A very emotional guitar solo. Taylor's vocals are really good in this, and you can really hear Steve Harris's prominent bass, which I really do appreciate it. But overall, this album is hot garbage. If I want to hear something like heavy metal, I would listen to Iron Maiden, not this. You have rocks in your head if you listen to this over Iron Maiden, in my opinion. And you know what? There are so many other... There is another heavy metal album that is way better than this shit. It is Haunt. You listen to Haunt and you can tell there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of emotion. Haunt is on just another level than British Lion. And although maybe Haunt were inspired by Steve Harris, Haunt are doing better than Steve Harris at the moment with British Lion. I love the man. I think he's an absolute god in the heavy metal scene, but he's released a stinker. And for British Lion, The Burning, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 10. It was a very disappointing album. I wanted to hear more. Hopefully the next album we're going to have a new vocalist. We're going to have different riffs. Not the same repetitive shit that we've heard from the album. This album is long. It's about an hour long. Songs are about 5 to 6 minutes. Up to 7 minutes. There are only about 3 good songs out of 12. That's it. It's a disappointing album. It is. And I may be a bit harsh. Throughout prominent listens, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, the album does get slightly better. It does, because you slowly grow and accept Taylor's vocals. But yeah, please get a new vocalist, Steve Harris, please. So guys, apologies for that negative review, but you did vote for British Lion the Burning, and of course I keep my promises. And yeah, so hopefully Iron Maiden gonna release another album this year. But I got some great news for you. We'll be dropping an Iron Maiden album review later this month. A positive album review. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone, to be honest. It's a very generic hard rock album on the borderlines of heavy metal. That's all I can say. Steve Harris has released a stinker. Okay guys, so comment below what you thought about this review. And if you disagree with my opinion, comment below why. Subscribe if you want. And I will see you in the next one.